we tried something a little different. We might not try it again. Today's video is moving a colony up. So the nook on the far side of the camera is absolutely jam-packed full, and the bees need more space, and so we're putting them up into a full 11 frame hive. And as I had Kate with me, we had some trouble with the tripod falling over for some reason with this one, so Kate tried to hold the camera in her hand. And as you can hear, the noise of handling the camera seems to really drive the microphone crackers. And we're going to have to look for some other options if we're going to want to do this kind of thing, because the tripod is not good, and holding it by hand is not good either. So do bear with us, because it's a very interesting procedure, and I'm trying to adjust the sound levels so that the scraping noise of the camera being moved around doesn't interfere too much. So we have the new hive set up in situ, and that's placed where the old hive was. So we've moved the old hive across and put the new hive in place, so the bees returning to the hive are returning to the new hive that is in the old hive's place, if that doesn't seem like too much of a mashing around of words. And then we transplant the frames across, keeping them in the same alignment and order, just looking for the queen as each frame goes across. It's comforting to see if she's there. If we don't see her, it's actually not too much of a disaster. She will find her way back to the hive, even if she does fly loose, because I don't clip queen's wings, something I've mentioned in a previous video, a practice that some beekeepers do that I'm philosophically opposed to. So this frame's got three lovely things to see. In that top left section, you can see drone brood, that lighter coloured and domed capping there. Below that is a nice area of worker brood, and then on the right hand side is stored pollen. In between all of those, a little bit of stored honey. And there's much the same on the other side to be seen. Very interesting frame there. And just on the left-hand edge of the drone brood there, we're zoomed in, if you're on full screen, to a drone hatching out, which is always just a nice thing to see. It's not helpful information that's going to inform our beekeeping decisions, but we just like to see new bees hatching out as a little bit of a joy. This next frame chock full of brood, but down in that bottom corner, a nice little area of newly stored honey, and they're really beginning to run out of room. You'll see the wild comb in a minute, and so that I'm confident that when we come back to this hive next week, they'll be making full use of the extra space that we've given them. And so fast forwarding through a few frames, on this frame it was the wrong size, it was a little bit smaller, and you'll see that bottom corner, broken comb has broken off. Now, we get a bit of a sad consequence of that there is brood in that broken off comb, and because that's broken off, there's really nothing we can do with them. Not that sort of comb. Occasionally you can reconstruct comb if it's broken neatly, but you'll see when we look down into the hive in a moment that brood comb in the bottom is pretty much wrecked because it broke off. And this is one of the reasons why in our last videos you saw us swapping out frames, even if they had stores in, if we were able to better size frames, so that these kind of issues don't come up when you're beekeeping. And so we cut to the final frame being put across, just moved across, and then we'll put a nice clean frame of foundation in to finish up. And you'll see that there's still bees left in the old hive. Now, if you're new to beekeeping, you might be asking yourself, well, how do we get those bees in? Is that a tricky procedure? And really it's not. the bees have a behaviour that we can use that makes getting all the bees into the new hive really very easy indeed. And you'll see that in just a moment, just after I put this hive clean treatment in. And so with the crown board on the new hive, I'm just taking a look, because I've still not had eyes on the queen, to see if she is on the walls of the old hive. Now there's the wild comb in the feeder channel, and also as you look down into the bottom of the main body, those broken off bits of brood comb that I'm very sad about, and you'll see it gets worse in a moment. But having satisfied myself that the queen isn't there, we now take the hive apart and tip the bees out in front of the hive. So I've just put a little bit of polyboard out to act as a little bit of a ramp, and you'll see the purpose for that in just a moment. And now taking this top section, this eke off the polynuke, just have one more little look around for the queen. If I had spotted her, I would have just tried to get hold of her and put her neatly on the landing board of the new colony to run her in. And then we shake the bees off in front of the hive. It is unscientific, and Kate will go around to the front of the hive in just a moment with the camera, and you will see it is not only unscientific, but unceremonious as well. So here's our arrangement at the front of the hive. So the landing board that comes with these hives that we use, and then also the little ramp there. Bees that aren't sure what to do, walk upwards. If in doubt, go up, seems to be their general game plan. And now I shall make it rain bees. And so there they are. Now that all looks exceptionally disordered, but as you watch, you'll see an order will form very quickly, and then we must look out for this behaviour. Now, in the centre of the screen, you can see that one who's now just raising her bum up in the air. She's the first, but you'll see quite a few more now. And this is to spray the Nasonov pheromone. The Nasonov pheromone comes from the Nasonov gland that's at the base of the bee's body. And you'll see just the very end seems to just kink over, and a lighter coloured little gland is exposed, which exists only to produce the Nasonov pheromone, which calls the bees home. This is the come home pheromone that the bees smell. And you'll see when one starts, several more will. They'll align themselves in the direction that the bees need to walk, and you get to march in. You get to march the bees in. Now, this will become a much bigger deal as we move into the swarm part of the season. My guess right now is 2 to 3 weeks' time, but I'm always surprised by the first swarm. And then sadly, also on the landing board are a few grubs from that brood that we just couldn't save. So once the bees are in, I'm afraid I just sweep them away and they're done for. It breaks my heart. I try to save brood wherever I can, but there's just no doing. You can't put them back in the honeycomb. You can barely handle them. They're so squishy. And so they are just done for. Leaving them there, they might rot and make unpleasant things happen, so I just swept them away. And by and large, birdies, particularly Mr. Robin and Mr. Blackbird, seem very keen on any larvae that come a cropper like that. In fact, Mr. Robin, I've even seen taking drones, adult drones. They seem to know the difference between bees that can sting and bees that can't sting, like drones. And Mr. Robin has frequently darted down in front of the hives when I've sat and watched sometimes, and he's had a drone or two. So there is lots of that Nasonov behaviour there, lots of bums in the air. And so this is calling all the bees in, and as you can see, they're marching in quite a nice little order like this. There's a drone going through the centre there, that bigger bee. And it's lovely to watch. When we do this with a whole swarm, the marching in seems almost supernatural. It's a very, very useful behaviour that makes our job immensely easier. If I had to somehow shepherd them in through, I don't know, some bizarre sequence of whistles and signals, it just wouldn't work. That is entirely beyond me. But the bees have a magic all of their own, and they know their own business very well. And so you'll see quite a lot of flying around in front of us, and also going in quite a few bees with lovely bundles of pollen. So those are foraging bees that are coming back as we're doing this process. They've been away out on the flowers and come back to find that their home has been upgraded, which must be lovely. I'd very much like to one day come home to my house to find it's been turned into a mansion. I suspect I'll be hoping a long time for that. And so yes, once the old hive is completely clean of bees, we can take that away. That goes back to my backyard for cleaning up and reuse later. I like to do a good sterilise between colonies of the hives so that they're nice and clean, and there's no chance of any lingering diseases from one affecting the next colony to go in that hive. And so this concludes our third and final video of this week. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Do please take a look at all the information in the doobly-doo to find out more about us. And if you're going to comment today, I'd be particularly interested in suggestions for alternative tripods for GoPro cameras, because as you can see, they fall over far too much, and I have been cussing it. It will help me a lot, and perhaps microphones as well, external ones. If any of you have any expertise in that, do get in touch. Thank you.